meeting called off. Mexico's president will not visit, addressing the people of Mexico not long after what President Trump told us. And tonight, the president doubling down. Also tonight, the shakeup at the State Department, at least 6 senior members out. And that moment during our exclusive at the White House, President Trump on getting the nuclear codes. Does it keep you up at night? In other news, the takedown, the mother who called police for help with her son, instead getting tackled and arrested herself. The new images revealed. Your money tonight, tax season is here, and the money left unclaimed. Tonight, 3 important tips that could get you a bigger refund. And America Strong. The father and daughter watched more than 100 million times.
I'm doing the second verse.
Have to hear her voice.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Thursday night, and we begin with the showdown over the wall. President Trump telling us just 24 hours ago that Americans will pay at first, but Mexico will pay us back. Tonight, the Mexican president saying that won't happen, and there is new fallout. The President Peña Nieto, his visit to the White House next week, now canceled. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl at the White House.
Mexico may insist it's not going to happen, but today Donald Trump was as defiant as ever.
I've said many times that the American people will not pay for the wall. And I've made that clear to the government of Mexico.
This only 24 hours after the president signed his order to begin the process of building the border wall with American money, something the president described to David as basically a down payment.
We will be in a form reimbursed by Mexico, which I've always said.
So they'll pay us back?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Just hours after that interview, Mexican President Peña Nieto shot back in an address to the Mexican people.
Lo he dicho una y otra vez.
I've said it once and again, he said, Mexico will not pay for any wall, adding, Mexico offers and demands respect as the sovereign nation we are. Since day one of his campaign, Trump's relationship with Mexico has been rocky.
Who's going to pay for the wall? 100%.
Still, he traveled there to meet with Peña Nieto last year. And we asked about the wall.
The wall, is it a non-starter? Is there any chance Mexico pays for the wall?
We did discuss the wall. We didn't discuss payment of the wall. That'll be for a later date. This was a very preliminary meeting.
Since then, Mexico's president has been consistent. There's no way Mexico will pay.
Mexico's president said in recent days that Mexico absolutely will not pay, adding that it goes against our dignity as a country and our dignity as Mexicans. He says,
well, I think he
has,
David, I think he has to say that. He has to say that. But I'm just telling you, there will be a payment. It will be in a form, perhaps a complicated form. And you have to understand, what I'm doing is good for the United States. It's also going to be good for Mexico.
The 2 leaders were scheduled to meet next week at the White House. But after Mexican officials hinted they might pull out, Trump tweeted today, if Mexico is unwilling to pay for the badly needed wall, then it would be better to cancel the upcoming meeting. 3 hours later, Peña Nieto tweeted back that he had informed the White House that he would not be attending the meeting. Later, Trump insisted the cancellation was a mutual decision.
The President of Mexico and myself have agreed to cancel our planned meeting scheduled for next week. Unless Mexico is going to treat the United States fairly, with respect, such a meeting would be fruitless, and I want to go a different route.
All right, John Karl live at the White House tonight. John, the White House saying both sides canceled this meeting. We don't know who moved to call this off first. But John, Speaker Ryan today did acknowledge that American taxpayers will pay for the wall first. But this evening, an idea floated by the White House on how taxpayers might get paid back.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer floated the idea of paying for the wall with a 20% border tax on goods imported into the United States from Mexico. But late tonight, the White House clarified that that is simply one hypothetical idea. It is not something that the president has yet signed off on.
Saying they were only floating the idea. In the meantime, yes, John, as President Trump moves forward with building the wall, the man charged with protecting America's borders now ousted?
The Border Patrol chief is gone effective January 31st. We are told that he wasn't fired for cause, but simply the president wanted to move in another direction. By the way, you may remember Trump was endorsed by the union representing Border Patrol agents. he was not very popular. That outgoing border chief was not popular with that union.
All right, John Carl leading us off again tonight. John, thank you. President Trump taking Air Force One for the first time today, at one point allowing cameras on board. He was on his way to meet with members of Congress, Republicans who now, of course, control the House and the Senate. When he arrived, he talked about many things, including his new investigation into voter fraud after claiming millions of illegal votes cost him the popular vote. After we asked him last night here, where's the evidence? Here's ABC's Cecilia Vega in Philadelphia.
President Trump today inviting the cameras into the private cabin on Air Force One.
Great plane.
Showing off his new flying office.
This is a very special plane for a lot of reasons.
Emerging from his first flight, a sharp salute. The president on a charm offensive, making nice with Republican lawmakers at their retreat in Philadelphia. The party now controls Congress and the White House.
Nice to win. Do we agree? It's been a while. It's been a while since we had this position. Nice to win.
His goal, to win support for his sweeping agenda. But today he kept pushing an issue that many congressional Republicans want to go away, the false claim that millions voted illegally in the election.
We are going to protect the integrity of the ballot box, and we are going to defend the votes of the American citizens. So important.
But House Speaker Paul Ryan has been clear, saying he has seen no evidence of massive voter fraud. David asking, now that the president is in the White House, is it dangerous to make claims without concrete proof?
That's true.
Do you think that your words matter more now?
Yes, very much.
Do you think that talking about millions of illegal votes is dangerous to this country
No, not
without
at all.
presenting the
Not
evidence?
at all, because many people feel the same way that I do. And
You don't think it undermines your credibility if there's no
no, not at
evidence?
all.
In Philadelphia, some congressional Republicans say there are more important things to worry about.
But is voter fraud, should it be on the list of things he was talking about today?
Well, is that on the top 10 of priorities for me? The answer is no. It's up to the administration to figure out if it's the top 10 for the American people.
Republicans also not interested in revisiting the election or the size of the crowds at the president's inauguration, something President Trump has talked about again and again, including at the CIA.
You took some heat after your visit to the CIA in front of that hallowed wall, 117 stars of those lost at the CIA. You talked about other things, but you also talked about crowd size at the inauguration, about the size of your rallies, about covers on Time magazine. And I just want to ask you, when does all of that matter just a little less? When do you let it roll off your back, now that you're the president?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. So I went to the CIA, my first stop. I have great respect for the people in intelligence and CIA. I then went up, paid great homage to the wall. I then spoke to the crowd. I got a standing ovation. In fact, they said it was the biggest standing ovation since Peyton Manning had won the Super Bowl, and they said it was equal. I got a standing ovation. It lasted for a long period of time. What you do?
And Cecilia Vega with us live in Philadelphia tonight. The president telling me there last night, Cecilia, that the investigation had been launched. He said done, regardless of proof of any widespread fraud. What are you learning tonight?
Well, not so fast, David. The president was expected to sign an order today launching that investigation into voter fraud. That did not happen. The White House does tell us, though, David, it will happen in coming days. Cecilia
Vega with us live from a windy Philadelphia tonight. Cecilia, thank you. Next tonight, we are learning of sweeping changes at the State Department. At least 6 top senior managers are leaving. We have new reporting on that front. Just as the first diplomatic visit begins here in the U.S., Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May is here, meeting with Republicans in Philadelphia today, and even before her visit to the White House tomorrow, pushing back against what the president told us here, that torture works. Here's ABC's Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz tonight.
Tonight, a State Department shakeup after an unusually large exodus of senior career Foreign Service officers, at least 6, walking out the door. Though not technically fired, the appointees were told they would not be asked to stay on in the Trump administration. This coming just as the State Department faces new diplomatic hurdles. On the eve of President Donald Trump's first meeting with Britain's Prime Minister, one of America's closest allies, Theresa May telling reporters Britain does not agree with President Trump's view of torture. We condemn torture, and my view on that won't change whether I'm talking to you or talking to the President of the United States. Her bold words in direct response to what President Trump told David.
But I have spoken as recently as 24 hours ago with people at the highest level of intelligence, and I asked them the question, does it work? Does torture work? And the answer was yes, absolutely.
You're now the president. Do you want waterboarding?
I don't want people to chop off the citizens or anybody's heads in the Middle East, okay? Because they're Christian or Muslim or anything else. We're not playing on an even field. I will say this, I will rely on Pompeo and Mattis and my group. And if they don't want to do, that's fine. If they do want to do, then I will work toward that end. I want to do everything within the bounds of what you're allowed to do legally. But do I feel it works? Absolutely, I feel it works.
But even Republican leaders are countering President Trump.
Well, I think the director of the CIA has made it clear he's going to follow the law. And I believe virtually all of my members are comfortable with the state of the law on that issue now.
And torture's illegal. And torture's not legal. So, and we agree with it not being legal.
Yeah.
Traveling today, President Trump taking his first trip on Marine One, a military aide boarding behind him, carrying what's called the nuclear football, something else David asked about.
Right after the oath of office, they give you the nuclear codes, the biscuit. Sobering moment?
When they explain what it represents and the kind of destruction that you're talking about, it is a very sobering moment. Yes, it's very, very, very scary in a sense.
Does it keep you up at night?
No, but I have confidence that I'll do the right thing and the right job. But it's a very, very scary thing.
And Martha Raddatz with us live from Washington. Martha, just as President Trump talks about receiving those nuclear codes, late word tonight, he's heading to the Pentagon tomorrow.
He is. Tomorrow is the ceremonial swearing in of his Defense Secretary, Jim Mattis, David. But before that, he will meet for a short time with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He will not be given new options at that meeting for the fight against ISIS. That new plan is several weeks away. But the expectation is that President Trump will give some guidance as to what he expects from the chiefs, David.
All right, Martha Raddatz in Washington. Martha, as always, great to have you. We do have one more note from Washington. President Trump coming to the defense of President Obama tonight after Chelsea Manning called Mr. Obama a weak leader, even after he reduced Manning's sentence for giving hundreds of thousands of military documents to WikiLeaks. In a tweet, President Trump calling Manning, quote, an ungrateful traitor. Next tonight to other news, criminal charges against a mother and her two teenage daughters have now been dropped after video from the arresting officer's body cam has now surfaced. That mother had actually called for the police, but the officer challenged her, then moved in to detain her. Tonight, ABC's Philip Mena with the new video.
So what's going on with you?
When Jacqueline Craig called the Fort Worth police to report her neighbor choked her 8-year-old son after catching him littering, she got this response from arriving officer William Martin.
Well, why don't you teach your son not to litter?
It doesn't matter if he did or didn't. It doesn't give him the right to put his hands on it.
Why not?
Because he don't. It don't. What you mean?
Why are you yelling at me?
Because you just pissed me off telling me what I teach my kids and what I don't.
If you keep yelling at me, you're going to piss me off and I'm going to take you to jail.
Okay. Okay.
When Craig's daughter tries to intervene,
you're under arrest.
Martin throws both of them to the ground.
Get on the ground!
Recordings of the incident surfaced online last month, but these body cam images were obtained and released today by New York Daily News reporter and activist Sean King, not by police, who would not comment on the video. Late today, Fort Worth's police chief dropping all charges against Craig and her two daughters.
We have to recognize when we do something that's maybe legal, but may not be the right thing to do.
Representatives for the family say that's not enough.
What we're calling the community to do at this point is to continue to put pressure on Chief Fitzgerald to fire this officer.
David, Officer Martin was disciplined for 10 days, but is still off the beat to undergo more training. And that neighbor, he was issued a citation today for assault, more than a month after Craig called police. David?
Philip Mena with us tonight. Philip, thank you. We turn next here to that health concern we've been tracking in the West, a mumps outbreak now expanding in Washington state. Health officials say there are now at least 278 mumps cases in Washington state across 5 counties. Doctors say the spike is likely tied to a vaccine that can lose its strength over time. There were more than 100 mumps cases in 8 different states in 2016, the most active year for mumps here in the U.S. since 2006. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Thursday. Tax season, of course, is here. 3 tips tonight that could help you get more money on your tax refund. Also, the close call on the road, live power lines ripped down, landing on a truck and cars, those drivers trapped inside. The major change coming when you fly the airline, getting rid of backseat TV monitors in its new planes. And America Strong tonight, the father-daughter duet you have to see right here. His dad, his 4-year-old little girl, he's singing right there, but you have to hear her voice when we come back.
Our generation really has gotten used to a whole new world.
It's been hard sometimes, but switching to consumer cellular, easy.
Now our cell phone bill is a fraction of what it used to be.
And they have a risk-free guarantee.
If you don't love their service, you can cancel and pay nothing.
But you'll love it.
Our average customers get everything they need for about $25 a month, and plans start at only $10 a month with no contracts. Stop paying too much for wireless service and switch to consumer cellular. Call, go online, or visit a Target store today.
Palm Wonderful Pure Pomegranate Juice is loaded with antioxidants. Fiercely focused, free radical annihilation.